Hi there, it's Gabriel here, SEO Manager at Hike SEO, and in this video we'll be talking about Robots.txt, how to use it for optimal site indexability. Alright, let's dive in. So in this video, you'll learn what Robots.txt is all about, and why is it important to your SEO, why do you need to optimize it, why do you need to learn how to use it. Also, some of the best practices around creating and optimizing the robots.txt file and some very useful features that we'll dive into. So it will empower you to use it correctly. So what is robots.txt? It's basically a text file that's located on a website's server that serves as a set of instructions for web crawlers or robots, such as search engine spiders. So they're all the same thing. So basically they're software tools that scour the web, that go on websites and explore all the different pages on there. And this file tells those crawlers, those bots, where they can and cannot go and what to do. So it gives them kind of a rule set to go by. So this file is designed to communicate to these robots on which parts of the website are open for crawling and indexing and which ones should be excluded or avoided. So here's an example, apple.com robots.txt file. There's a lot of rules in here and you can keep scrolling down. There's a lot more than that, but this is how it basically looks. It's just a plain text file and you can publicly access it. And you can just see all these different rules. Now, they may not make sense to you right now, but later in the video, you'll understand it a lot better. So why is robots.txt file important? That's a really good question. Firstly, it prevents duplicate content in the search engine results pages. And it's not the only thing that can prevent it, but it can help to prevent it. And it instructs search engine bots to avoid crawling and indexing duplicate or redundant pages that you might have on your site, or certain sections of the site that might be contain duplicate content. So you can also tell them not to go there as well. So this ensures only the most relevant and authoritative version of a page is displayed in the search engine results pages. Next is it keeps certain website sections private. So it allows website owners to designate specific areas or directories on the website that are off limits to search engine crawlers. Now, this doesn't guarantee that search engines won't discover it another way, but it basically inhibits them from going there in the first place if they go to the robots.txt file. So this is helping to maintain privacy and security of sensitive information, such as admin or login pages. So it's hidden from public search results. Now, again, disclaimer, this doesn't guarantee 100% privacy or security because those pages may still be able to be accessed directly. It just tells search engines not to crawl this area, not to explore it. So just make sure that you have other security or privacy measures in place if those are very sensitive pages. It also prevents internal search URLs from becoming public. So this helps avoid cluttering the SERPs with internal results pages. So when someone searches on the search bar on a website, oftentimes new URLs are generated from those queries. And these are irrelevant to users and can be quite messy. So it's another way to kind of block search engines from exploring these results or links. It also streamlines the indexing process and prevents search engines from wasting resources on crawling pages or URLs that aren't valuable to the end user. It also blocks certain files from being indexed as well. And basically, it allows webmasters to specify which types of files to be excluded from search engine indexing, which is really useful. For example, let's say you don't want images indexed for some reason, or PDFs or CSV files. This can help focus search engine attention on the most relevant content, and it preserves the crawl budget because search engines will have a certain crawl budget available for each site or for sites because there's limited resources. And so the more superfluous pages that you have, the less efficient those search engines will be to crawl those pages. It prevents servers from becoming abused. So again, it restricts access to authorized bots, ensuring servers are used efficiently. So maybe there's some search engines or some spiders out there that constantly crawl a site, and a webmaster may not want that to use up their server resources. So it allows for managing and optimizing crawl budget by limiting how many pages can be crawled within a certain period of time. So this is useful as well if you want to throttle how many pages are crawled at once. So it also shows the location of a sitemap file, the XML sitemap. And basically this helps search engines discover pages on your site and index those pages efficiently. So here's an example of a robots.txt file, and there's a sitemap line here that basically tells the search engines or the bot, the spider, where the sitemap or sitemap index file is located. So where do you put your robots.txt file? Can you just drop it into any folder? No, you need to place it into the root directory of your website server. So root is like right at the base home level. So this is the main folder where your website's homepage is located. For example, if your website is website.com, it would just be /robots.txt. Now, there's certain limitations with robots.txt. So not all search engines support robots.txt rules. So although it's a standard protocol on the web, not all spiders may adhere to its directives. So just to keep in mind. So some search engines choose to ignore or partially follow the instructions. And also crawlers vary in their interpretation of the syntax within the robots.txt file, because there's certain syntax that needs to be done because it's a standard protocol. So some web crawlers may interpret that syntax differently. It's just something to be aware of. And this can result in inconsistencies in how search engines follow the rules or how the website is crawled or indexed on various platforms. Disallowed pages can still be indexed. Now, in the robots.txt file, there's a directive called disallow, and this basically tells search engines not to crawl those pages. However, they can still be indexed indirectly. Basically, it doesn't prevent it because search engines could discover links to those pages or those directories externally and crawl them that way rather than directly on the site. So just something to note. So this can lead to unintended indexation of those pages. So you just want to make sure that if you do absolutely not want those indexed, you need to flag them. You need to have a meta robots on those pages that says no index. And that's for another topic. But just to make sure that you know that robots.txt cannot 100% prevent indexation, it can just disallow search engines and prevent them from crawling on the site. So here's some different search engine bot examples. So here's some Google bots. I'm not going to go through each one, but there's the general Google bot, the image, the mobile version, the news, the video ones. There's different ones depending on what they do. There's the Google bot extended. So this is for Bard AI and Vertex AI. There's Storebot. There's Media Partners for AdSense. There's AdsBot for Google Ads. There's a lot of different bots. Baidu, so Baidu search engine. There's the general one, the image, mobile, news, video one, similar to Google. Bing has its bots, so Bing bot, the general one, and AdX bot for Bing ads. And then you got MSN bot, MSN Media, And there's other bots, Slurp, and this is for Yahoo search engine. You got Yandex, you got GPT bot for GPT OpenAI platform, and you got CC bot for Common Crawl. This is another AI tool platform. So those are also ones. So sometimes you see websites, especially large ones, that don't want ChatGPT, don't want AI crawlers on their site, so they block access to GPT bot and CC bot if they don't want those crawlers to crawl their content. Now let's explore some robots.txt syntax so you understand how to use some of the directives on there. So user agent, this directive, this basically specifies the web crawler or user agent to which the subsequent rules below that or the directives below that apply. For example, you can have a user agent Googlebot, and this would target Google's web crawler with the rules underneath. User agent star, this allows all bots to crawl your site. So this is basically a blanket for every single bot. Then you have disallow, like we hinted at previously. So this indicates the web pages or directories that should not be crawled or indexed by the user agent mentioned above or earlier. So this specifies the relative paths of the disallowed content. And relative paths, it means you don't have to include the full URL. It's just starting at the root / directory. So for example, disallow / page -a. So this is page A. And notice you don't have the domain on there because it's a relative path. Allow. So this rule can be used to counteract a broader disallow rule. So this is kind of like an inverse. So you have a disallow blanket statement, and then you can have allow for certain other sections within that, for example. So this allows for complex targeting. Allows you to permit the indexing of certain pages or directories that would otherwise be blocked by a disallow directive. So that's very, very useful, and you can use them in tandem together. Crawl delay. So this sets a delay in seconds between subsequent requests made by the user agent on your server. So for example, it can be used to reduce the server load caused by excessive crawling, especially if you have limited server resources and you don't want it to overburden the resources on your web server. And it can limit also how quickly the crawl budget is used up as well. Sitemap. So this informs web crawlers about the location of your XML sitemap or sitemap index files. And this lists all the URLs that you want to be indexed on that file. So for example, sitemap /sitemap _index.xml, and that basically tells Google and other search engines, here's my sitemap index file, explore it, check out the pages on there, and that will help you index my site. Star symbol. So the star symbol serves as a placeholder for any character sequence, or it can also mean all and any. Like we just covered, a user agent star means all user agents. So just something that you can use a tool. So disallow /page /star. This prevents crawling of any pages or subdirectories that are nested within the /page directory, including the root page of page. Then you have the $ symbol. This can be used to select all pages and subdirectories within a certain directory level. So for example, disallow /page $sign prevents crawling of any pages that are nested within the /page directory, including the root page itself, but it won't select any subdirectories below it or pages within those. So let's say there's a /page subfolder directory, then it won't select that and it won't select any pages within those. It's just going to crawl the /page. It's just going to disallow the /page directory. So here's some more examples of directives. So if we want to allow all web crawlers access to content, user agent star, disallow is blank, And this basically says just crawl everything and allow any spiders to crawl anything. If you want to block all web crawlers from all website content, user agent star, disallow / This basically says don't crawl anything. Block all web crawlers from PDF files site-wide, user agent star, disallow / star.pdf. So this selects all PDF files on the site. Block all web crawlers from JPEG files only within a specific subfolder. So user agent star, disallow / subfolder / star.jpg $. So this only selects the JPEG files within that subfolder and nothing below it. Remember, case sensitivity is important. So .capital JPG files would still be crawlable. So just make sure that you look at the case sensitivity as well. Block a specific web crawler from a specific folder. So user agent bingbot. So these are the directives that will apply to bingbot specifically. Disallow blocked subfolder. So block a specific web crawler from a specific web page. So user agent Baidu spider, for example, and / subfolder / the page to block. So that's an example. Now, be careful, because if a / is added and this is a directory, it could mark it as a directory instead. So just make sure that you know that this is the page and not a directory. So here's an example on waterstones.com. It shows several disallow directives, user agent, SEMrush bot. It's disallowing SEMrush from crawling any of the site. It has a sitemap index file here. It also has a crawl delay of 5 URLs maximum per second. So the crawl delay is 0.2 seconds, which means it can crawl 5 URLs per second if you do the maths. And that's for bingbot specifically. All right, so let's go into some robots.txt best practices. So to ensure discoverability, you want to place the robots.txt file in the top level directory of the website. We covered this already, but it's an important point. So /robots.txt. Remember that robots.txt file names are case sensitive, so use lowercase robots.txt for consistent naming, not variations like capital R or with the txt capitalized. Now be aware that some user agents, especially malicious ones like malware robots or email scrapers or other things like this, may disregard your robots.txt files. It's not like a steel wall against these. It's basically tells the search engines that will respect it, but it's not necessarily going to help with any malicious ones. So keep in mind that the robots.txt file is publicly accessible. So avoid using it to conceal any private user data, as anyone can view these directories and directives, and they can locate those different areas of your site. So just make sure you have additional security in place for those if you need to. Separate subdomains within a root domain should each have their own robots.txt files. For example, if you have a blog.example.com and example.com, both should have their own robots.txt files at their respective locations. It's advisable to specify the location of associated sitemaps at the end of your robots.txt file to help facilitate proper indexing. Obviously, if you've already have your XML file for your sitemap in Google Search Console, again, it will know where to find it. But generally speaking, for other search engines and other crawlers, it's good to have it in there so you can discover it. Google Search Console advises against blocking CSS and JavaScript files to ensure proper website rendering and indexing. Sometimes I've seen it a couple times where in the robots.txt file, these types of files are blocked for some reason, and that can mess with the visuals sometimes. URLs are also case sensitive, so make sure that directories, pages, file extensions, all are in the correct case, so it selects the proper ones. So let's talk about testing the robots.txt file, make sure it's valid. So you want to make sure that you do that. You can use Google's free testing tool, so google.com/webmasters/tools/robots-testing-tool. So here's an example of that. So you put your you go to your site and you put your robots.txt there, and it will basically tell you if there's any errors or warnings in there. Now let's talk about the difference between robots.txt versus meta robots versus X robots. They're all similar, but they have slightly different functionalities. So robots.txt file is an actual text file, while meta robots and X robots are meta directives located on specific pages. So robots.txt defines like a site-wide or directory-wide crawl behavior, while meta robots and X robots indicate indexation behavior only at the page level. So meta robots is an HTML meta tag that's placed within the head section, the HTML head section of individual pages. And you can indicate no index within that to prevent that page from being indexed by search engines. You can also indicate no follow within that to prevent crawlers from not following links on that page. So for example, here on a Hike SEO, we have content and index and follow. So index means that the page can be indexed by search engines. Follow means crawlers can follow through any links on that page. If you switch it to no index and or no follow, then obviously that will change the behavior. X robots. So this is an HTTP header that can be set at the server level or for specific web pages. Generally, it offers similar capabilities to meta robots, but it's mostly used for advanced scenarios and requires a lot more technical expertise to implement. So don't worry about that. Just focus on the meta robots and the robots.txt. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions at all about robots.txt files or anything around that, please do ask. And if you haven't yet checked out hikeseo.co, definitely do that. It's a fantastic all-in-one SEO platform for beginners, for small business owners, as well as agencies who serve small businesses. It's fantastic, easy to use, and has everything there that you need to start getting more organic traffic from Google and other search engines. All right, visit the site, and I will see you soon. Take care.